Okay, so good morning everyone. Please turn on your camera. Okay lang anyway, this is not supposed to be your online class today. Okay? So yesterday we discussed about intrapartum complications, no? So paki-on na lang yung camera nyo. Earl, Mr. Earl?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes. You please check the attendance, Iho.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Word. Okay. So, complications of postpartum period, usually happen because of intrapartum complications. Although they could also be related to antepartum conditions in pregnancy. Ganun lang naman kasi yan when antepartum conditions affect the intrapartum, then definitely the intrapartum can also affect the postpartum of the mother. Okay. So, what are complications of postpartum period? Ano naman yan? Si hemorrhage and infection. Okay? Those are the only common complications of postpartum. So, yun lang yung classification niya. It's either magdugo o ma-infect si mother. Okay? But between the two, of course, ang mas nakakamatay ay yung pagdurugo. Okay? And particularly that hemorrhage usually sets in within 24 hours postpartum. Unlike your infection, it may happen sometime. Kaya of the postpartum period. Kaya ang priority mo between infection and hemorrhage, syempre, onset pa lang niya, doon ka sa hemorrhage. Okay? Because hemorrhage can set in within 24 hours from labor and delivery. And the infection can set in 3 days after delivery. Okay? So, let's talk about postpartum hemorrhage. So, what is postpartum hemorrhage? So, basically speaking, in NCM 107, anong sabi natin? The normal blood loss is 300 to 500 ml per vaginal delivery in the first 24. Tandaan nyo, ang time frame is 24 hours. Okay? As for cesarean birth, the normal blood loss is 800 to 1,000 ml in the first 24 hours. But anything that goes beyond 500 ml for your vaginal delivery and 1,000 ml for your cesarean birth is considered a parameter for your postpartum hemorrhage. Okay? So, yan yung postpartum hemorrhage. Now, what are the precipitating factors or the risk factors that could cause postpartum hemorrhage? So, first, you should remember that all these factors are actually under what you call your 4 T's. Okay? So, what are the 4 T's? The first T stands for tone. Okay? So, alam nyo naman ang muscle tone. Okay? So, the most common cause of your postpartum hemorrhage will always be uterine atony or the absence of the muscle tone of the uterus. Okay? Ma'am, bakit? Because postpartum, what we want is a well-contracted uterus. Okay? So, ba't natin kailangan ng well-contracted uterus? It's because you would want the uterus to contract around the blood vessels. Kasi it will create a pressure around the blood vessels. Sugatin lang. Di ba pag may sugat kayo, tinatakpan nyo or kinocompress nyo or pine-pressure nyo para hindi magdugo. Ganon din po sa postpartum. We want a well-contracted uterus that will contract around the blood vessels to prevent it from bleeding. Okay? So, what happens in postpartum hemorrhage is number 1, tone, uterine atony. Ibig sabihin, the uterus loses muscle tone. Okay? Then number 2, you also have your tears. Okay? So when you say tears, okay, yan yung mga punit o yung tinatawag nating laceration. Pwede din yan tinatawag na trauma. So anywhere wherein nagkakaroon ng lacerations or trauma, okay, to the internal and external genitalia, that could actually create also postpartum hemorrhage. So for example, di ba, if you remember yung precipitous discuss ko, which would cause trauma, okay, to the cervix and to the vagina. Okay? Episiotomy, di ba? Yung mga yan, that could also create trauma and lacerations, di ba? Even your operative obstetrics, yung vacuum and forceps delivery, pwede rin niyang mag-create ng tears or trauma. Kasi tandaan niyo yung ginagamit sa vacuum and yung mga forceps delivery, malalaki yung mga yan. Pag ipinasok yan sa puerta ni mother, that alone can already create trauma. So anything that is very large enough to pass through your cervix and vagina, that can actually create tears and trauma. Okay, so that's another T. So ma'am, ano pa yung ibang T? Okay, you have your tissue. So anong tissue? Yung placental tissue. Okay, so when placenta is retained inside the uterus, it will impede, okay, or interrupt the uterus from complete uterine contraction. Okay, so you just have to imagine yung fist nyo, i-open nyo. Okay, i-open nyo yung kamay nyo, ilagay nyo dyan yung kabilang kamay nyo. Okay, i-open nyo, ilagay nyo yung fist ng kabilang kamay nyo. Sige, Earl, taas mo nga yan. Yan, sige. I-close mo yung kamay mo doon sa fist. Okay. Imagine your fist as the retained placenta. Tanggalin mo yan ngayon. Tanggalin mo yung fist mo, i-close mo yung kamay mo. Diba? Completely contracted or closed siya. Okay? So kapag merong something sa loob niyan, hindi yan makaka-complete contraction. That's the reason why a retained placenta or any products of conception is not good. Diba? If you remember also incomplete abortion, okay? So, hindi makakakontract yung uterus completely kung meron pang mga products of conception sa loob niya. So, that's the reason why usually ang ending niraras pa natin or we manually remove all those retained tissues. Okay? Because they prevent complete uterine contraction. Okay? So aside from those T's, the rarest cause of your postpartum hemorrhage is your bleeding. Okay? Yung problems with your thrombin. Okay? So when you say thrombin kasi, alam nyo, yung mga coagulation sa katawan natin. Okay? So basically speaking, kapag nakita ni Doc na postpartum hemorrhage, ang unang chinecheck kasi ni Doc, pakitignan kung well-contracted and firm ang uterus. Doc, check. Okay naman yung uterus, well-contracted. Pakitignan kung meron siyang bleeding somewhere in the cervix or vagina or sa kanyang vulva, yung labas ng kanyang genitalia, the external genitalia. Doc, okay naman, wala rin naman siyang episiotomy. Sabi naman yung pinaglabas ni baby. Okay, so there are no tears or lacerations or trauma. Paki-check kung merong tissue na natira at paki-check yung completeness ng placenta during the third stage of labor. Doc, complete naman lahat ng cotyledons. Now, ano na ang huling iisipin ni Doc? Paki-check yung kanyang mga bleeding and clotting time. Kasi baka yan ang problema. You know, bleeding disorders, coagulation problems only account for 1% of the total cases of postpartum hemorrhage. Although it's very rare, still it can contribute to PPH or your postpartum hemorrhage. So ma'am, yung tatlo dyan, the inversion of the uterus, uterine prolapse, and uterine rupture, saan yan magfo-fall? Sa uterine atony. Doon pa rin sa toe. Kasi an inverted, prolapse, and ruptured uterus cannot contract. Simple lang naman, di ba? Okay? So, undertone pa din po yan. Ma'am, yung placenta accreta, under tissue yan. Now, we have three forms of these ones. Actually, when you say, ito siya accreta, increta, and percent. Ma'am, ano yan? Kung meron tayong low-lying placenta, like your placenta previa, ito naman, these are deeply rooted placenta. Normally ba, saan nag-i-implant ang placenta? Isn't it that in the uterus, we have three layers, the endometrium, the myometrium, and the perimetrium. Now, normally, your placenta should only implant at the layer of the endometrium. Okay, ma'am, nag-implant siya way beyond that. Habang papalalim ang kanyang ugat, paparami ang blood vessels na pwedeng sumama dyan during placental expulsion. Yon ang problema natin. Kasi ang lalim ng kanyang ugat. Okay? And usually guys, I'm telling you, in severe cases, this calls for hysterectomy. Kailangan tanggalin yung buong uterus ni mother. So, ang Increta kasi, nag-implant siya beyond endometrium and a little bit of the myometrium. Si Accreta, nag-implant siya sa buong or kabuuan ng inyong myometrium. Ang worst, si Perceta, nag-implant siya hanggang perimetrium. That's the reason why, nagtataka kayo minsan, ma'am, di ba ang stage 3 of labor, 30 minutes lang na-expel na yung placenta? Gulat ka, 1 hour na, nakaantay ka doon, di siya nagkakaroon ng signs of placental separation. Nagugulat ka, ma'am, yung umbilical cord hindi nagle-lengthen. Eh yun pala, ang nangyari, hindi siya humiwalay mula sa kanyang pagkaka-implant. Yan na ang kailangan mong isipin na tendency. Pag pinilit mo yan hilahin, good luck sa'yo. Baka mahila mo ang buong uterus. Okay? So ma'am, pwede yan magkaroon ng uterine inversion, prolapse, and rupture. Yes. Pag pinilit mong hilahin. Kaya nga yung tinanong ni Mr. Earl last time na pwede bang hilahin yung cord. Yes, if there are signs of separation. But that's what you call controlled cord traction. And it's very gentle. Okay? Inaalalayan mo lang yung paglabas ng placenta if there are signs of placental separation. Eh paano kung wala, ma'am, pwedeng pilitin? Wow! Baka mamaya ang kalaban mo dyan, itong tatlong to. Okay? Ang worst kasi dyan, pag pinilit mo yung hilain, sasama lahat. Pati uterus. And that could lead to a massive hemorrhage. Okay? So in short, si Accreta, Increta, and Perceta is still under issues yan. Okay? Placenta. Eh ma'am, yung hematoma, under trauma or tears pa din po yan. Okay? So like your episiotomy, lacerations to the vagina, to the cervix, kaya ka nagkakaroon ng hematoma. Because these are injured blood vessels. Okay? So in short, yung 40s lang ang dapat nyong tandaan. Your tone, tears or trauma, tissue, and lastly, the thrombin. Yun lang po. Okay? Now, when it comes to the causes, tignan nyo tong causes dito. Okay. Number si uterine over distension. Ano bang nagpo-cause ng over distension of the uterus? Okay. Okay. So ano ulit yung mga nagko-cause ng over-distension ng uterus natin? And why is it that we don't want over-distension? Di ba remember yung last ko na sinabi ko? That when the uterus over-stretches, di ba? Hindi na yan masyadong magko-contract postpartum. Magiging relaxed, soft, and bulgy na siya. And remember, in postpartum, we want a well-contracted uterus dahil nasabi ko na yung dahilan kanina. We want it to press around the blood vessels to prevent bleeding. Now, anong nagkakos ng mga postpartum hemorrhage? Anything that would cause uterine over-distension. Like what? Number 1, macrosomic babies. Malalaki. Di ba? Anything that are large enough to be housed inside the uterus. Another thing, multiple gestations, twins, triplets, quadruplets, di ba? Another thing, hydramnios or polyhydramnios, masyadong madaming amniotic fluid. Another thing that can cause uterine over-distension, yung kasunod niya, grand multiparity. Alam niyo ang grand multiparity? You gave birth to a more than 20-week AOG na bata for more than 5 times. So pag tinanong mo, ma'am, pangilang anak niya na to? Ay, nurse, pang-5. Ikaw, ma'am, pang-6. Ay, ikaw, ma'am, pang-7. Okay? So that's grand multi-parity. You gave birth more than 5 times. Eh ma'am, minsan pa do-re-mi yan. Wala pang 1 taon yung nauna, buntis na naman si Mudra. 2 months pa lang yung isang tubedede, buntis na naman si Mudra. Guys, ano ba ang family planning? Ilang years ang gap? 2 to 3 years. Because it takes 2 to 3 years for your reproductive system to completely recover. If you overuse your uterus, it will over-distend. Di pa nga nakakabalik sa pagkaka-stretch stretch mo na naman. Di ba? Okay? So anything that would cause overdistension will eventually cause uterine atony. Okay? Postpartum. Okay? Next thing, si anesthesia, analgesia and colitis. Saan ko yan binanggit? Sa hypertonic uterine contraction. Pag nasobrahan ka niyan, magre-relax ang uterus. Diba? So nabanggit ko yan kahapon. Kasi they are CNS depressants. They are also uterine relaxants. Kaya si mother, for example, nag-receive ng magnesium sulfate for pregnancy-induced hypertension, postpartum, what are you going to watch out? Uterine relaxation or atony. Kasi magre-relax yung uterus niya because that's a form of tocolytic agent also. So any tocolytics, analgesia, anesthesia, sedatives can relax the uterus. So watch out for postpartum hemorrhage related to uterine atony. Okay? So in short, si 1, 2, 3, puro atony yan. Okay, uterine atony. Eh ma'am, si trauma, under tears yan. Yung mga episiotomy, cervical vaginal lacerations, yung mga yan, lalo na kung precipitous labor si mother, yan yung mga pwedeng maging cause niyan. Okay? Another thing about trauma is pwede rin po yung inyong vacuum and forceps delivery. Kasi ang lalaki niyan, pinadaan mo sa vagina at cervix, pwedeng matrauma or magka-lacerate yung cervix and vagina. And another thing, malalaki po ang ating mga vacuum at forceps ha. So can they also cause over-distension of the uterus? Definitely yes. Anything large that occupies space in the uterus can create over-distension. So even vacuum and forceps delivery can do that. Okay? Episiotomy is also a form of trauma and tears. Next thing, hypotonic and hypertonic uterine contractions. They could cause uterine atony. Ma'am, hindi ba yung hypo lang? Ba't nasali si hyper? Guys, uterine exhaustion. Contract ako ng contract nung intrapartum. Aasahan mo, magko-contract pa rin ako postpartum, sabi ng uterus mo. No, this time magre-relax ako. Wala nang laman yung loob, now I can go to rest. Okay? Yung hypotonic naman, ma'am. Ayan, contract din ako ng contract, week nga lang, o di napagod pa din ako, kasi na-prolong yung labor. Oh, so ganon. Okay? So your uterus can go into relaxation once it's overused. Yun lang ang lagi niyong tandaan. Okay? And then you have your oxytocin during labor. O, ayan na naman, overuse. Kasi well-stimulated ako ng oxytocin nung intrapartum. Ngayong postpartum, ayan, pwede na akong mamahinga. Di ba? And then you have your prolonged labor. Ganun din. Nagamit-gamit ako nung labor. O ngayong postpartum, papahinga din ako. Okay? And then you have your history of maternal anemia and postpartum hemorrhage. You should know that in every labor and delivery, pag anemic si mother kasi, a good blood supply is needed. Okay? For you to be able to recover, okay, postpartum. Pero kung meron kang anemia, isa yan sa pwedeng mag-cause ng postpartum hemorrhage later on. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ka ng poor wound healing. Like for example, ma'am, na-episiotomy ako. Precipitous labor pa ako, mama. Okay? So, hindi alam nung una, si Doc na nga, precipitous labor na nga, in-episiotomy pa, grabe ka naman, Doc. Eh, di mas binilisan mo. Eh ngayon, ang nangyari is kailangan mo ng good blood supply para mag-heal. Okay? Yung episiotomy at yung mga lacerations ng cervix at vagina mo. Kaso anemic ka. Ano bang problema natin sa anemia? Hemoglobin that carries oxygen. For a good wound healing, you have to have a good supply of oxygenated blood. Okay, kaya nga later ma-encounter niyo yan sa med-search yung mga vascular diseases that causes decreased blood supply. Pag nagkaroon ka ng wound, nagiging gangrene at mapuputol yung paa mo kasi hindi maganda ang blood supply. Okay? So, majority kasi, kung titingnan mo, ang causes ang nagko-cause ang mga infections din natin, usually they could also cause poor wound healing. And majority ng microorganisms na nagko-cause ng poor wound healing, mga anaerobic. Yung mga hindi nangangailangan ng oxygen, pero meron ding mga aerobic, which is more common, na nangangailangan ng oxygen. Okay? So, next thing, you have here the main causes that I discussed already. Okay, so let's first discuss uterine atony. What is uterine atony? The myometrium, which is the muscle layer of the uterus, fails to contract and the uterus fills with blood because, ito yung in-explain ko kanina, lack of pressure on the open blood vessels, particularly on the site of the placenta. Kasi pag nag-detach ang placenta sa endometrium, dapat yung blood vessels doon mapitpit para hindi magtugo. Okay? So the only way to compress it and to create that pressure is for the uterus to actually contract. Okay? Pag hindi yan nag-contract, relax and boggy siya, that could cause bleeding. Okay? So what are the factors that could cause uterine atony? Ayan, nabanggit ko na kanina lahat to. Okay, pati excessive use of analgesia, anesthesia, pitocin. Ito, yung trauma due to obstetrical procedures, yan yung inyong forceps and your vacuum delivery. Okay, sila po yan. They could cause overdistension of the uterus plus lacerations to the vagina and cervix kasi malalaki itong mga equipments na ito. Okay? Next thing, you have your uterine atony here. It is the most common cause of postpartum hemorrhage. Kaya nga po, siya yung favorite usually the board exam question, no? And it is characterized by a slow, steady or massive hemorrhage. That's the reason why you would expect the vital signs may not change immediately kasi slow. In case the vital signs changes immediately, delicado. Because these vital signs usually changes due to shock, hypovolemic shock. Okay? So, bakit nagkakaroon ng hypovolemic shock? So, what are the signs of usually tachycardia and hypotension? Okay? So, hypotension happens because of low blood volume. Okay? And the tachycardia is a compensatory mechanism for that hypotension. Na-detect ng katawan mo, ala brainy, ba't ko konti ang nare-receive nating blood supply brain? O itaas mo natin. Kaya the tachycardia is a compensatory mechanism hypovolemia. So that at least, okay, the body or the different organs of the body would be able to get a good blood supply. But of course, it will never be enough unless, okay, makorek siya. Okay, by blood transfusion, by IV fluid and all. But of course, you have to correct the underlying cause. Okay, kung ang underlying cause niya, walang tone yung muscles, then you give oxytocins. Okay, but the thing in your shock, sa umpisa lang yan, magtatachycardia. Pag walang nangyaring management sa uterine atony, you will eventually go bradycardia until the time you die. Okay? Tachycardia and hypotension are actually unique manifestations of the early signs of shock. Okay? And tachycardia means your body is trying to compensate. Now, key to successful management is always prevention. So how do we prevent it? By active management of the third stage of labor. Ano yung active management of the third stage of labor natin ulit? Yung pagbibigay ng IM o oxytocin. Okay? Another thing, ma'am, dumating ang isang babae. Ngayon, grand multi-para siya man pang-anim na anak na to. Ngayon si Doc, bigla, aside from IM injection of oxytocin in the third stage of labor, nagbigay pa siya ng IV na oxytocin. 10 units oxytocin incorporated in 1 liter D5 LRS. Alam ma'am, bakit pa lang yun? Kailangan ba yun? Yes, kasi grand multiparity yung mother. You would anticipate that the mother may go into PPH. Kasi over-distended uterus gamit na gamit. Okay? So baka mamaya yan, maging pogi and relax and soft yung uterus niya. Okay? And then, nurses can often predict which women are at risk for hemorrhage. Kunwari, grand multipara, anemic ones. Okay? Those ones have undergone forceps and vacuum delivery. Lagi yan, naka-IV dito sa mga automatic. Okay? Wag mo nang tanungin si Doc. And usually, enough na po ang 10 units oxytocin. Hindi naman pang-prevent ng postpartum hemorrhage gaano kapag in-increase mo pa yan. Kailangan mong hanapin yung usual na cause niya. Okay? Baka naman mamaya, kaya nagkaroon ng uterine atony, retained placental fragment. Hindi pala masyadong marakontract si uterus. Then you have to do dilation and curettage. Baka mamaya. Kaya nga, ang point dyan, tignan mo yung mga at risk for postpartum hemorrhage, yung mga may episiotomy, lacerations, and all. Sila yung mga at risk yan. Number one, abogim, as uterus or a flaccid. When flaccid, ibig sabihin, hindi siya contracted. Nakarelax lang siya, lupay-pay na uterus. Okay? Excessive bright red bleeding and abnormal clots. Buo-buo yung dugo na lumalabas sa iyo. I'm sure many of you females here or girls would know na pag unang mens mo, ma'am, sobrang sakit, para akong nagdidysmenorrhea kasi buo-buo or clotted yung mga lumalabas sa akin. Yes, that's why it creates an unusual pelvic discomfort or back pain. Parang kung nagdidysmenorrhea, di ba alam nyo girls, yung dysmenorrhea, masakit talaga no? Lalo na kung buo-buo. Okay? And right now, I'm having it while I'm discussing to you. Oh my God. Okay? Masakit talaga siya. Ramdam ko dito sa likod ko, lower abdominal and back pain. Hindi kasi ako mahilig masyado maggamot ng analgesics. Kasi kung kaya ko pa naman yung pain, carry lang naman. Okay? So, how about treatment? So, syempre, you do assessment, particularly of the vital signs. That's very important because you would want to assess for shock, hypotension, and tachycardia. Okay? And then, you can massage through manual compression. I-search nyo kung paano by manual compression. Usually, minsan pa nga pinapasok ni Doc yung dalawang kamay niya dun sa puwerta nung nanay. Yung isang kamay, actually hindi dalawa, yung isang kamay nasa loob, yung isang kamay nasa labas. Tapos imamassage niya yan. Okay? Imamassage niya yan. So parang papakitnaan niya yung uterus. Okay, ganun ang bimanual compression. Guys, hindi kayo allowed na gawin yon. And you leave the fundal massage to the doctor. Kasi minsan, pag naging vigorous masyadong masahe mo, naku, paktay tayo. Uterine inversion, prolapse, and rupture. Ha? Iwasan natin yung tatlong yon. Kasi yan, sama yan. Pag nag-prolapse, pwedeng mag-rupture. Pag na-invert, pwedeng mag-rupture. Or pwedeng mag-rupture lang, even in the absence of prolapse and inversion. Ha? So, tandaan niya yan. And then, next thing, of course, you have to replace, okay, blood transfusion and even fluids. Ang usually ginagamit natin for IV fluids, fast drip, okay, ng ating mga plain normal saline, or if not plain normal saline, we give plain lactated ringer solution, PNSS or PLRS, either of those two. Okay? And hindi nyo yan kino-compute by drip, Ma'am, 30 drops per minute? Ma'am, 60 drops per minute? No. You have to give it as fast as you can. Kung kaya mong ubusin yung 1 litro sa loob ng 30 minutes, gawin mo. Because we're talking about shock in here. You have to administer it as fast as you can. Minsan nga, pag kulang pa yung linya, pwede pa ba tayong mag-create ng isa pang line? Yan yung tinatawag nating double line. Bakit to? Kasi dalawang PNSS, sabay na fast drip. Para 2 litro agad ang maibigay mo. Okay, ganun ka-exaggerated. We don't compute drops per minute in fast drip, Fast drip means fast drip. Ultra fast drip. Okay? Minsan, double line pa yan kasi kailangan mo rin ng blood transfusion. And kailangan mo pa ng medication. Okay? Now, Ma'am, kung ang cause, yung uterine atony talaga, yes, we give oxytocins, your pitocin or oxytocin, and in some cases, your metergine. Usually, ang metergine, binibigay natin yan in late postpartum hemorrhage caused by uterine atony, like yung sub-involution, kung saan hindi bumalik si uterus sa kanyang original na kinalalagyan. Mamaya, i-discuss ko yan. So, alam nyo naman yung contraindication sa metergine, hypertension. Okay, you have to always check the blood pressure before giving the drug. Ano naman problema natin kay oxytocin? Water retention, which can lead to water intoxication. Baka pumunta yan sa brain ni mother, magkaroon ng cerebral edema, increase intracranial pressure, at mag-seizure si mother. Yun ang nakakatakot sa oxytocin. Although oxytocin can also raise blood pressure, but it's very rare. Hindi siya kasing potent ng metergine to cause high blood pressure. Ang problema natin lagi kay oxytocin is water intoxication, retention. Okay? So, pwedeng mag-edema ang buong parte ng katawan mo. It's not only the brain. Pwedeng yung pulmonary edema, congestive heart failure, and all. Magtubig ang lungs at puso mo. Delikado yung mga yun. Okay? And of course, kung ang cause ni uterine atony is because of a retained placenta, di ba? Imagine nyo yung kanina na sinabi ko, RASPA, dilation and curettage po tayo. And kung ang cause niya is si placenta accreta, syempre buong placenta nandun sa loob. O, di anong pwedeng mangyari? Hindi siya maka-contract. So you have to treat the underlying cause of the uterine atony. Kung ganun rin lang, ma'am, ang cause, uterine rupture complete, pati inversion complete, pati prolapse complete. Complete na pala lahat di hysterectomy na. Sabi ng pasyente, Doc, maawa ka, isang buwan lang baby ko. Dinamdamin. Baka yung nauna. Okay? Kasi pag yan tinanggal, ma'am, magdudugo ka po ng magdudugo. Okay? So either way, hindi ka na rin magkakaanak kasi nandun ka na. Okay? So, yun yung sabihin mo, okay? So, kailangan hysterectomy. You know, we always do surgeries based on risk versus benefits. O, pati naman sa uterine atony, ganun naman ang management na. Now, let's talk about the tears or the lacerations, okay? So, when we talk about lacerations or tears, ito yung mga pwedeng factors sa or di ba sabi ko sa biglang pagpagsak or descent ni baby, naman yung ating positioning side lying para hindi mabilis yung pag-descend ni baby. Number 2, the size, di ba? Yung macrosomic babies, kung pinilit mo yan ilabas vaginally, di ba? Meron na yung gano'n na 4.8 kilograms, nilabas vaginally, social. Pero tumakbo rin lang sa hospital si mother kasi meron siyang postpartum hemorrhage related to lacerations. Ang laki ng nilabas mo ipinilit mo. Siyempre, pupunitin niya yung cervix at vagina. Okay? Ganon din sa mga presentations and positions, lalo na kung mga bridge yan. Ba't mo ipipilit sa vaginal delivery yan? Ang mangyayari pa dyan, hindi siya maka-engage, much more, hindi siya maka-descend. Anong nangyayari, ma'am? Uterus, pinipilit niyang mag-contract kasi gusto niyang ilabas yung products of conception. Pero sa kapipilit niyang mag-contract, sino yung tritotroma niya? Yung cervix. Kasi ano ba ang gano'n ng uterine contraction natin? The uterine contraction is the power that pushes open the cervix. Kaya ka nagda-dilate dahil sa uterine contractions. Ngayon, 10 cm dilated na po ako, bakit matindi ka pa mag-contract, sabi ng cervix sa uterus mo? Although part siya ng uterus, no? Okay? So the thing in here is, with malpresentations and malpositions, it can create lacerations because it just keeps on creating trauma to the cervix. Kaya ang ending niyan, dapat CS na yan. Okay? And then, you also have a contracted pelvis. Huwag niyong isipin na, ma'am, sa ang pelvis po to, pwedeng mag-contract, pwedeng mag-relax. Hindi po. Okay? When you say contracted pelvis, means it's a pelvis that has abnormal size of inlet and outlet, narrow. Okay? Ibig sabihin, masikip. Okay? Dati nang masikip, kahit nung pagkapanganak pa lang sa'yo, gano'n ang pelvis mo. Gano'n naman talaga Siyempre, minana yan, congenital na yan. Okay? So, ang tendency niya, ma'am, hindi kasi gynecoid, kasi platypeloid or android yung pelvis ko. So, ibig sabihin, contracted yung mga forms ng pelvis na yon. So, ibig sabihin, you will have a problem with fetopelvic disproportion. Okay? Huwag mo nang ipilit yan. Again, the uterus will continuously contract, traumatizing the cervix. And yet, you cannot deliver vaginally. That's why you will have to deliver by cesarean section. And of course, you also have your varices or varicosities. Nakakita na kayo ng mga varicosities, guys. Sa mga lolo't lola nyo, those over-dilated tortuous veins. Okay? Diba sa legs nyo lang yan usually nakikita? But I'm telling you, I saw already cases na nasa vagina siya at sa perineum. Ang tindi. Talagang ugat-ugat na parang isaw na ang lalaki. Okay? So sa paa, pwedeng ganito itsura niyan. Actually, deep vein thrombosis na nga itong ipapakita ko sa inyo. Pero usually, mga varicosities and thrombophlebitis din siya. So, ayan siya, oh. Tindi, oh. Bukol-bukol yan. Deep vein thrombosis yan. Pero usually, pag sa labas mo makikita yan at superficial thrombophlebitis lang siya, tignan nyo yung mga nasa lolo't lola nyo. Okay, sila yun. Pero actually, it doesn't only stay in the lower extremities. It will only include your vulva and even the internal genitalia. Okay? So, kung makikita mo yan, wala lang sa legs ko, ma'am. Actually, meron din po sa aking vagina. Okay? So, delikado yan. Why? Because with continuous pressure to the vulva, during the contraction of the uterus, anong pwedeng mangyari? Yung mga yung mga varices na yan, eventually, they would rupture. Okay? So, yun yung problema natin. Yung tendency niya na pwede siya pong mag-rupture. Okay? So, the thing in here, yan yung mga varices, okay? So it can occur anywhere in the internal and external genitalia, and during labor and delivery, because of the pressure from the uterine contractions, they can rupture. And eventually, they could cause lacerations that could cause PPH. So signs and symptoms, there is a bright red bleeding where there is a steady trickle. Kasi ang uterine atony, hindi siya steady trickle, talagang gush of blood. Talagang madamihan. Pero ito, steady trickle, alam mo yung parang tumutulo na gripo. Ganon siya. Ma'am, pakonti-konti lang pala yan Pero pag inipon mo, madamihan yan. Okay? So ma'am, it can still lead to hypovolemic shock? Yes. Katulad ng uterine atony. Any form of postpartum hemorrhage can create hypovolemic shock. Yan naman yung pinaka-ending kasi ng postpartum hemorrhage that would kill the patient kung hindi maagapan. That's the reason why it's deadly, because of its hypovolemic shock. Okay? So, next thing in here, you would see the treatment and nursing care. Number one is the meticulous inspection of the entire lower birth canal. So, you will have to see, may episiotomy ba ang pasyente? Nurse. Doc, wala naman. Okay? So, anong history ng birth niya? Precipitous ba yan o prolonged? Okay? Doc, mukhang precipitous. Yan na. Okay? Tinignan niyo ba yung cervix at vagina? Kung merong ganon, kung merong lacerations. Kung merong lacerations yan, wala tayong magagawa. We have to suture it. Suture any bleeders. Okay? Then you have to apply vaginal packing. Lalo na kung nasa labas lang yan, buka ng maraming gasa. Kung nasa loob at doon siya sa cervix, isusuksok mo lahat yun ng gasa sa pepe ni mother. Ganon kadaming gasa. Ilagay mo doon, lapit doon sa cervix. And usually, syempre, kung may hypovolemic shock, you will have to do blood replacement. Okay? Pwede ka rin namang mag-ice pack dyan. Okay? Para lang ma-promote ang vasoconstriction. Okay? So, yan yung mga pwedeng gawin. Okay? Sa mga lacerations, usually we do suturing. Yan lang naman usually ang pwedeng gawin dyan. Okay? So, let's talk about the retained placenta or the retained placental fragment. So, in the third stage of labor, the most important nursing intervention there is to check the completeness of the placenta. What is retained placental fragments? So, it is the incomplete, it is the incomplete separation of the placenta and fragments of placental tissue is retained. Okay, anong number one cause? Ito na yung tanong mo. Pulling of the cord. Ayan siya, oh. Okay? Please stop massaging the uterus and pull the cord if there are no signs of placental separation. Ang pinaka-sign naman ng placental separation nyo, yung lengthening of the so, may naiwan kay baby, may naiwan sa placenta. Ganon yun, di ba? Signs of separation, nagle-lengthen yung umbilical cord ni baby. Yes, kanin. Anong kinalaman ng umbilical cord ni baby doon? Hiwalay na yun. Okay? Yung umbilical cord na nakakonect pa sa placenta. Okay? That's the reason why hindi na rin tayo mga nagfo-fundal push, yung mga yan, di ba? So, minsan kasi, sa fetal expulsion, nag-fundal push. Sa placental expulsion, nag-fundal push para daw ma-deliver yung placenta. Grabe naman. Wala ka bang pasensya? Ang third stage of labor is only 30 minutes. Okay? So, antayin mo na yon. Okay? And lastly, andyan si Accreta, Perceta, at Increta. Huwag mong hilain yan. Gulat ka. Ma'am, 30 minutes na. Maximum na yun na. Kasi iba, 15 minutes, lumalabas na yan. May 5 minutes pa nga eh. Mabilis lang yan. So, gulat ka, ma'am, 30 minutes, wala na. Wala pa. Ma'am, 1 hour na ako nag-aantay, wala pa. Ba't ka naman umabot ng 1 hour, girl? Dapat, ini-hospital mo na yan. Most probably, mga Increta, Percreta, or Accreta yan. Kasi, kung lumabas siya, at least retained placental fragment lang. Ang problema mo, ni isang part ng placenta, walang lumabas. Delikado yan. That's a deeply rooted placenta. You will have to refer it to the hospital so that the doctor can intervene. Why? Because in Increta, Perceta, and Accreta, usually, pag malaki yung inoccupy or buo yung inoccupy ng placenta, na buong root niya nandun sa ilalim or pinakailalim, hysterectomy agad yan. Wala ka na magagawa dyan, hindi mo yan patatagalin. Okay? So, pero kung hinila mo yan, pwedeng ma-retain. Pero yun nga lang, kasama ng paghila mo, hindi lang placenta. Nagulat ka, oh, ano to? Biglang tumalsik lahat ng dugo sa mukha mo. Buti nga sa'yo, bakit hinila mo? Okay? Then pagtingin mo, ay ano tong nasa pepe na na-prolapse? Hindi naman siguro cord ni baby to. Gaga, uterus yun. Okay? So mag-ingat ka dyan. Okay? So what are the signs of retained placental fragments? Number 1, boggy relaxed uterus. Di ba nabanggit ko na yan kanina when I made a fist inside the palm? Okay, you imagine your palm being the uterus and your fist being the placenta. So basically speaking, it prevents the uterus from being completely contracted. So it becomes boggy or relaxed. And you would expect a dark red bleeding. Bakit? Usually yan, pwedeng concealed yung bleeding kasi nandun sa kataas-taasan. Okay? The more that the blood will travel a very long way, it will start to darken. Kasi ibig sabihin, patay na dugo na po yun, but still blood. Okay? Kasi kung fresh red blood yan, usually, hindi concealed yung bleeding. Ibig sabihin, external. Parang yung sinabi ko sa abruptio placenta and ectopic pregnancy, it's more internal rather than external. That's why kung may lumabas man na blood sa vagina, it's usually dark red. No? Kasi nandun siya sa loob. Okay? So, treatment, syempre, raspahin mo. Okay? Or manually remove it, yung retained placenta. Yun nga lang, in cases wherein it's Accreta or Increta, you have to refer the patient for possible hysterectomy. And then, administer oxytocins kasi naging boggy or relaxed yung uterus. Okay? Plus, oxytocin will also help remove the placental fragment. Okay? And lastly, yung mga placental fragments na yan, they could create open wound sites inside the uterus, which is a perfect opportunity for microorganisms to proliferate. That's why you have to give prophylactic antibiotics. Okay? So yan yung mga management natin for your tears. Okay? Another form of tears is in the form of hematoma. Ito na. Okay? Ano ba ang hematoma? Kung titignan nyo dito, ayan, very large yan. This is a very huge hematoma. A hematoma of less than 5 centimeters is not a cause of alarm kung less than 5 centimeters. Kita nyo yan? Ma'am, ang laki. Okay? Nasaan yung pepe dyan, ma'am? Ayun o, yung nasa gilid-gilid. Yung pinakagilid dyan na parang may yellow. Okay? Ma'am, parang inoccupy na lahat ng hematoma, but purong bukol-bukol na yan. Actually, that's more than 5 cm of hematoma. And that kind of hematoma alone can pull blood of 300 to 500 ml. That's a significant blood amount. Okay? Kasi, normally naman, alam nyo naman, even when you donate blood, 200 to 250 lang dinodonate nyo, di ba? Okay? Pero dito, it can accumulate 300 to 500 ml of blood. Ma'am, nasa loob naman siya eh. Hindi po. Nasa labas siya ng blood vessels. Okay? Those blood accumulated outside the blood vessel. Therefore, they can lead to hypovolemia. Okay? So, when we talk about hematoma, it results from injury to a blood vessel, usually in vagina or vulva, or even internal structures in the pelvis. Okay? But usually yan, ang hematoma nasa labas. Usually nasa vulva or external genitalia. And they develop rapidly and may contain 300 to 500 ml of blood. Okay? So malaki-laking dugo ang nawala sa iyo. Okay? So, signs and symptoms, number 1, always pain. Ma'am, bakit pain? Kasi you should remember yung laki nito, what will happen? That large hematoma can compress the surrounding nerve endings. Di ba, girls? Ang ating vulva is very sensitive. Okay? Pag hinawakan mo nga yan, magpaw-paw ka lang. Or else may sugat lang yan na konti, mahapdi na. Okay? Because it contains a lot of nerve endings. And when these nerve endings get compressed, syempre, you will feel a lot of pain. Para saan bang nerve endings? Di ba yan yung sensation mo for cold, hot, pain, and all? Di ba? So, ang mangyayari dyan, you will feel a very severe pain. Like a very severe pressure. Like sasabihin mo, it's very painful and I feel like there's a pressure down there that I cannot explain. Tapos, hindi lang yun ang masakit, ma'am. Pati yung likod ko, deep, severe, unrelieved flank pain, feelings of pressure. Okay? So, the major symptom, ayan, yung rectal pain. Pati doon sa rectum mo, affected na yan buo, hanggang doon sa pinaka-lower back pain mo. That's a very characteristic hematoma. Ang unang i-report sa'yo, I feel like there's a pressure down there and I feel like severe back pain and lower abdominal pain. The bleeding may be concealed, which may lead to hypovolemic shock. Kasi nasa loob siya. Okay? But if it's outside, makikita mo rin yung mass that you can feel on vaginal exam, or if it's outside, you can already see it. Okay? Or inspect it. At may tendency magkaroon ng abdominal distension because the pelvic cavity creates pressure to the abdominal cavity. Kaya nga minsan ang tawag nyo dyan, abdominopelvic. Anything that happens to the abdominal may happen to the pelvic cavity, and anything that can happen to pelvic cavity may spread up to the abdominal cavity. Okay? So, ito po siya. Okay. So, what is the management? Usually, if less than 5 cm, pwede lang yan mag-ice packing. Okay? So, kuha ka ng yelo, balutin mo, pwede mong ilagay dyan to prevent further inflammation. Okay? Or accumulation of the blood. Ma'am, ganyan kalaki, isa na lang ang pwede mong gawin dyan. Emergency po yan, prepare for surgery. Okay? They will need to do incision and drainage. Paano yung dugo na nandyan, say goodbye to the 300 to 500 ml of blood. Kaya nga, during surgery, prepare your IV fluid. If in severe cases, prepare for blood transfusion. Okay? So, that's incision and drainage. Marami kayong ma-assist na ganyan. Pag yung mga cysts, hematoma, mga ganyan, usually we do incision and drainage. Kinakat open yan ito, then drain. Okay? Scalpel yan, syempre. Okay? So, subinvolution. Okay? What is subinvolution? Among the different forms of postpartum hemorrhage, all of it are actually early postpartum hemorrhage. Subinvolution is the only cause of late postpartum hemorrhage. Ma'am, ano ang early at late? Okay, yun ang hindi ko na-discuss. Pag early, it occurs within 24 hours from labor and delivery. Within 24 hours. Na ma'am, ang late, usually after 24 hours ang late. Okay? So, the only late cause of postpartum hemorrhage is subinvolution, which includes, ayan, retained placental fragments and infection. So, ma'am, yung tissues kanina, retained placental fragment. Yes, if it goes up involution, then it's a cause of late postpartum hemorrhage. Pero kung wala namang sub-involution at talagang retained placental fragment siya within 24 hours, okay, na nag-cause siya ng bleeding, is still a cause of early postpartum hemorrhage. Kaya nga si retained placenta, either early yan o late. But either way, kung sub-involution ang kinose niya, that is late postpartum hemorrhage. Okay? And even infection can cause sub-involution. Ano ba ang involution? I told you that already last time, di ba? Involution is the return, okay, of your reproductive system to its pre-pregnant state. Okay? Ang sub-involution, your reproductive system, particularly the uterus. Uterus kasi ang talagang nag-i-involution. The uterus remains large and does not involute. So anong ibig sabihin niyan? Normally, tanong ko, ang fundus, within 24 hours after delivery, saan siya? Nasa level of umbilicus. After 24 hours, that's below the level of umbilicus. Eh ma'am, paano ngayon? Right after delivery, above the level of umbilicus pa din siya, ma'am. And 24 hours na or 48 hours, hindi pa rin siya bumaba. That's sub-involution. And normally, within 10 days, the fundus is no longer palpable kasi nandun na siya sa pelvic cavity. Di ba yun ang turo sa inyo sa NCM 107? Okay? Hindi na siya palpable. So kung hindi bumababa ang uterus, sub-involuted yan. And there may be causes to that. Number one, retained placenta. Malaki pa din siya kasi may placental fragments. Okay? Number two, infection. Ano ba ang signs and symptoms of infection? Mayroon siyang signs and symptoms of inflammation. Di ba ang inflammatory response nyo, anong meron? Pain, edema, swelling. O, di kung edematous and swollen yan, malaki yan. Okay? So, those are the causes of sub-involution. Kaya, do not expect, ma'am, nag-i-stay lang ang woman for vaginal delivery 24 to 48 hours sa facility. Eh, pag cesarean section yan, ma'am, hanggang 72 hours lang. So, ibig sabihin, nakauwi na siya. O, di ba? Very unfortunate. Doesn't